as we welcome you back to Keyshawn J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance, is what kind of relationship does Hurts have with Carson Wentz? He was asked that yesterday.
How about with Carson, though? I mean, how is that dynamic working?
I mean, we're working together, communicating on things. You know, he has 5 times as much experience that I have, so he's always a helping hand when a question comes up.
What do you think about that? A little more than 5 times, I would say, though.
Well, look, man, this is not a this is not a Jalen Hurts issue. This was a Carson Wentz issue. So for Carson Wentz not to be there for a young quarterback, that would be wrong. He's going to be there for him and help him out for whatever it is. You know, he's not going to just turn his back on him and act. No, he's not going to pout and do those things. Carson's issues will be with the coaching staff and the organization. It won't be with his teammate. What the hell has Jalen Hurts done to him? Right? I mean, think about it.
Why do we get into these things? Like this is where I really feel like the media just, as an ex-player, the media just really digs to try to find something to, because they already have a narrative in their mind that they want to write about, right? So my only thing is, we're grown men. We're grown men, Key. I don't need you to put your arm around me and tell me it's going to be okay. You might have to give me some advice here or there if you choose to, but if not, I'm going to have to figure it out. Like, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going into this scenario saying, oh, I really wish Carson Wentz will help me out, and I'm really worried about our relationship, so our relationship is going to, if it's not good, it's going to hinder the way I perform in the field. No, you're one of the worst in the league at third down conversion rates, right? Keep plays alive offensively and keep your offense on the field. That's what Jalen Hurts needs to do.
Well, sometimes it's always good, though, to get the perspective of somebody who's actually been in the chair and been in that position, because now that they're removed from it, they see it a lot clearer. You know what I'm saying? Like Carson Wentz is so amazing right now. Carson Wentz sees it different than he sees it when he's underneath the center, because he's the backup now. So he's looking at it like different. So for Jalen Hurts to go to him and say, if this happens here and that happens here, what would you do? Now Carson could say, oh, I would do this, because the bullets aren't flying right now. So he doesn't have to worry about ducking and dodging. But when them bullets go to flying, you got to duck and dodge. Your mindset is so much way different. That's why veteran quarterbacks are good for young guys, because they see it different. And I learned this from Frank Reich when I was a rookie. Frank Reich was the backup, believe it or not. He was my quarterback. I was young, though. Frank was on his way out. But he could come and teach me. He taught me so much and got me up to speed because I was late to training camp. Of course, huh, right?
You held out.
I held out.
You were late to training camp.
Yeah, really, right? And so I could sit in the room with Frank, and he could see it totally different than the information I was getting from Neil O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. But it was amazing to be a part of that.
You said he was on his way out, though, right? From a time.
No, but I'm saying because he wasn't the starter, he was the backup. He would just see it differently than when you out there, Jay. Those things are moving fast.
Oh no, man. I get it.
It's all over the place. And now when you remove yourself from it, you go, oh, okay. It's even now. I hadn't played in 100 years, but when I see something, I'm like, oh, I would have did this or that. If you put me out there, I may not do those things.
I just don't go into this thinking that Carson Wentz is going to have a red and rosy relationship with Jalen Hurts, considering the way Carson Wentz has essentially been forced out.
But it's not a Jalen issue, though.
I know it's not. I know it's not a Jalen issue.
I'm saying, okay. Here's what I'm saying, Jay. It's not a Jalen Hurts issue for Carson Wentz to have a problem with him. They're going to have a cool relationship. It's the issue is with the organization and the coaches. If Carson Wentz is going to go ham on anybody, it should be the coaches and the front office. It has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. Put your arms around Jalen Hurts and help him get through
the right
game.
Thing.
That's the best way to handle the situation.
That's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Not everybody always does the right thing, especially when you're emotional about losing your job.
You lost your job to Jalen Hurts, man. They did you wrong.
Just saying. You know how people get in people's ears?
That's what the homies is going to
say. When you go home, and it makes you look at people a little bit differently. I'm not saying you do it maliciously.
That guy isn't even good. He didn't win anything at Oklahoma. You get that whole – and if you allow that to seep into your brain, you ain't worth nothing either.
Couple quick things. One, there has been a little bit of discussion exactly what Wentz's temperament has been. There have been some things written, but in large part, many people have come out and said he embodies the term, and they have this here in the upper Midwest, he embodies the term North Dakota nice. That's what they say up there. There have been things that have been said and written about Wentz, maybe not being the greatest teammate of all time, but in large part, publicly at least, he obviously has been very supportive and seems like a good dude. So let's ask it from this perspective. Yes, and we all get humbled, right? It's just a matter of when it happens. Okay, so it's just one game. Hurts came in, obviously, during the Green Bay game, didn't get all the first team reps, got more reps. This is his week. I know it's just one game. This is his week. It's his time. It's his opposition. What a reasonable, just one game out of the gate against a quality opponent with an excellent defense.
What's reasonable for him? His performance?
Yeah, just it's your first spot, but it's a big spot.
Well, I don't anticipate him looking like Carson Wentz looked the last time we saw Carson Wentz. I don't expect that. I expect for them to help him in terms of play selection, giving him things that he does well. Not the things that Carson did well, but the things that Jalen Hurts does well, because they're going to have to run some of the things that Carson did do, but also taking into consideration this is a different quarterback with a different style. And I think they know that. So you'll probably see a lot of things on the move, a lot of RPOs. You're gonna see a lot of empty packages where he's in the gun and he's getting the football. He's rocket stepping, throwing, letting it go out quick because of his anticipation. He is not a fast, twitchy guy like a Kyler Murray.
Okay.
But he is a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, he is.
And a hell of a football player. And so sometimes in college he had a slow delivery. He liked to see the receiver open before he threw the football, but that's also because I have a strong arm. Quarterbacks taught me, Vinny Testaverde taught me this as well, because his arm was so strong that a lot of the times I would come out of my break, but I could see him throw the football because he knew I'm going to get it there before the defensive back. A lot of guys do that, and it could get them in trouble opposed to timing. In the timing, no one typically would say, oh, his timing is off. He's supposed to throw that ball before he comes out of the break. That is true. But when you have a strong arm, you get bad habits at times. And I think at Oklahoma and even at Alabama, he knew he could zip it through because he had a strong arm, so the anticipation wasn't quite there. Hopefully they fixed that with the Eagles because this is the National Football League. Things happen a little bit faster. So I think he'll have a decent game. I don't know that he'll win the game. I don't know that he'll throw for 300 yards, but I think it'll be a game we say, okay, he deserves to start next week.
I mean, I don't come in with any expectations. I honestly don't know. But just imagine if Jalen Hurts did win this game. Imagine if they beat the Saints, a team that hasn't lost since week 3 after a change. Can you imagine the type of hype that we will have coming into next Monday?
No doubt.
Off the charts.
And it would obviously be, the question would be asked
cheesesteaks for everybody.
Tony Luke's, Pat's, Geno's, whatever you want. They would just ask him essentially, why didn't you make the change earlier? That'll obviously be the first question to Doug Peterson. Last thing I would say.
We didn't think Jalen was ready. We felt like Carson was giving us the best chance to win.
You've been to a lot of press conferences, haven't you? I've tossed to a lot of those press conferences.
You say a lot without saying anything.
Last thing I would say, you said the slow delivery. The one thing I really do like about Jalen Hurts, just as a fan when I watch him and I listen to him speak, realizing you don't hear college players talk all that much, is he's a very slow heartbeat. Like, it just doesn't feel like everything or anything is too big for him. You played at Alabama and OU.
Yeah.
You had adversity. You lost your starting job, which you didn't really lose on merit. The other guy was just on fire and came through in the biggest spot that he could possibly face. But I like the fact that he handled all of that so well. I think it speaks to him. He
took the starting job from Barrett against USC, who they started. He came in, took the starting job, and then he lost it, but he didn't really lose it.
Right. Blake Barnett started.
Barnett.
Came in, made it happen. Keyshawn J. Wills, you've been presented by Progressive Insurance, protecting small businesses with specialized coverages for commercial vehicles. More at Progressive Commercial.